May 3, 2007. A seemingly ordinary Thursday evening in the tranquil resort town of Praia da Luz, Portugal. For the McCann family from Rothley, Leicestershire, it was another day of their much-anticipated holiday. Jerry and Kate McCann were enjoying dinner with friends at a tapas restaurant, a short walk from their ground-floor apartment. Their 3 young children, 5-year-old twins Sean and Amelie, and their eldest, 3-year-old Madeleine, were asleep back in the apartment. What began as a peaceful evening would soon unravel into a nightmare that would captivate and horrify the world. The McCanns, along with their friends, had established a routine, checking on their sleeping children every half hour or so. This particular evening, Jerry McCann had performed the first check around 9:05 p.m., noting all 3 children were asleep. Then, around 10 p.m., Kate McCann went for her turn. She entered the apartment, walked into the children's bedroom, and immediately sensed something was wrong. The shutter was open, the window was ajar, and the bed where Madeleine had been sleeping was empty. The chilling silence spoke volumes. Kate McCann's scream shattered the tranquil night. "Madeleine's gone! Madeleine's gone!" Her desperate cries brought Jerry and their friends rushing back to the apartment. A frantic search began instantly within the complex. The holidaymakers combed the grounds, peering into bushes, under cars, and checking every possible hiding spot. The initial disbelief quickly morphed into stark terror. The realization dawned that this was not a child who had simply wandered off. Madeleine McCann, a vibrant 3-year-old, had vanished without a trace, initiating one of the most extensive missing persons investigations in history. Local Portuguese police, the Polícia Judiciária, PJ, were alerted. The initial hours were critical, yet, in hindsight, were plagued by what some later described as procedural missteps. The apartment was not immediately sealed off, potentially compromising vital evidence. Witnesses were not extensively interviewed right away. The McCanns, in a state of shock, were left to grapple with the horror while the world slowly began to learn of Madeleine's disappearance. The resort town, usually a haven for families, was now a focal point of a burgeoning international crisis. News of Madeleine's disappearance spread like wildfire. Her photograph, a smiling girl with distinctive green eyes and a gap tooth, quickly became one of the most recognized faces in the world. Her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, launched a relentless global campaign to find their daughter. They made impassioned appeals to the media, held press conferences, and met with dignitaries and religious leaders. The public outpouring of sympathy and support was immense, generating a massive reward fund and thousands of tips from around the globe. This was a family's personal tragedy becoming a global cause. The initial days and weeks were a maelstrom of activity. Police pursued various leads, some credible, many not. Sightings of Madeleine were reported across Portugal and beyond, each offering a glimmer of hope, only to be debunked. Theories ranged from an opportunistic abductor to a sophisticated child trafficking ring. The McCanns themselves became the subject of intense media scrutiny, with questions raised about their parental responsibility. The pressure on the Portuguese authorities was immense, compounded by the constant presence of international media and the passionate pleas of Madeleine's parents. In September 2007, a dramatic turn shocked the world. Kate McCann was declared an arguido or formal suspect by the Portuguese police. Days later, Jerry McCann also received this status. Police focused on the theory that Madeleine had died in the apartment, and her parents had concealed her death. This development sent shockwaves through the media and among the public, dividing opinion sharply. The McCanns vehemently denied any involvement, expressing their heartbreak and outrage at the accusations. This period marked a severe deterioration in relations between the McCanns and the PJ, further complicating an already complex investigation. A key element in the Arguido Declaration was the involvement of 2 highly trained sniffer dogs from the UK, brought in by British police. Eddie, a cadaver dog, reportedly indicated the presence of human cadaverine, a chemical associated with human decomposition, in the McCann's apartment and on Kate McCann's clothes. Keela, a blood dog, reacted to what was interpreted as blood traces. However, these findings were never definitively confirmed as Madeleine's, nor were they robustly linked to a crime scene. The reliability and interpretation of this dog evidence became a major point of contention and legal debate, casting further shadows on the investigation. Less than a year after being declared suspects, in July 2008, the Portuguese authorities lifted the arguido status for both Kate and Gerry McCann, as well as for Robert Murat, a British expat living nearby who had also been an arguido. The PJ stated that there was insufficient evidence to bring any charges against them. While this removed the cloud of suspicion hanging over the McCanns, it also meant that the investigation was effectively back to square one, with no definitive suspects and no clear path forward. The family could now focus solely on finding Madeleine, albeit with the scars of public accusation. Frustrated with the lack of progress in the Portuguese investigation, and following pressure from the British government, Scotland Yard launched its own review of the case in 2011, named Operation Grange. This marked a significant shift, bringing fresh resources and a new perspective to the cold case. British detectives began re-examining thousands of documents, witness statements, and forensic evidence from the original investigation. The sheer volume of material indicated the daunting task ahead, but it also offered renewed hope that a methodical, extensive review could uncover overlooked clues or new avenues of inquiry. Operation Grange quickly shifted its focus away from the McCanns, prioritizing the theory that Madeleine had been abducted by an outsider. The team identified various persons of interest and began to build a more comprehensive picture of the events of that night. They appealed for public assistance, often releasing EFED images of potential suspects based on witness descriptions. This renewed international effort underscored the belief that Madeleine could still be found or that her abductor could be brought to justice. The search was no longer about placing blame, but about uncovering the truth. Operation Grange, while a beacon of hope, also became one of the most expensive and protracted missing persons investigations in British history. Over the years, millions of pounds were allocated to fund the team of detectives and forensic experts. This significant investment reflected the unprecedented public and political interest in Madeleine's case. However, it also sparked debate about the allocation of police resources, given the thousands of other missing persons cases. Yet, the commitment to Madeleine's search remained unwavering, a testament to her parents' persistence and the enduring mystery. By May 2017, 10 years had passed since Madeleine McCann disappeared. The landmark anniversary brought renewed media attention and emotional appeals from her parents. They spoke of the enduring pain, the constant hope, and their determination to never give up. Despite the decade-long search, there were still no concrete answers. Operation Grange continued, albeit with a reduced team, following every credible lead. The passage of time often dims memories and erodes evidence, making an already difficult investigation even more challenging. Yet, the McCanns' resolve remained unbroken. In June 2020, a seismic breakthrough emerged. German authorities announced they had identified a new prime suspect, Christian Bruckner, a German national with a history of sex offenses, who had been living in the Algarve region of Portugal around the time Madeleine vanished. Bruckner was already imprisoned in Germany for other crimes. This development, based on intelligence gathered by German, Portuguese, and British police, shifted the focus dramatically. For the first time in years, investigators publicly named a person of interest believed to be directly involved in Madeleine's potential abduction. Christian Bruckner's profile was deeply disturbing. He had a history of child sexual abuse and other serious offenses, dating back to the 1990s. At the time of Madeleine's disappearance, he was living in a camper van near Praia da Luz and frequently frequented the area. Reports indicated he owned several properties and vehicles during that period. German police revealed they had specific intelligence linking him to the case, including phone records placing him near the Ocean Club resort on the night Madeleine vanished. This information provided the most significant lead in over a decade. While German prosecutors expressed confidence in their case against Christian Bruckner, they remained tight-lipped about the exact evidence, citing the ongoing investigation. They did, however, confirm that they were investigating him on suspicion of murder. The intelligence suggested a link between Bruckner and the McCann apartment, perhaps through a phone call made from the area. Despite the lack of a body, German authorities believed they had enough circumstantial evidence to classify him as a key suspect. This was a crucial development, giving the long-stalled investigation a renewed sense of purpose and direction. Following the identification of Christian Bruckner as a suspect, Portuguese police, in cooperation with German and British authorities, conducted several new search operations. In May 2023, a significant search was undertaken at the Arade Dam Reservoir, about 50 kilometers inland from Praia da Luz. This area was reportedly a place Bruckner frequented and referred to as his little paradise. Investigators used sniffer dogs, divers, and specialist equipment, searching for any trace of Madeleine or evidence related to her disappearance. The intensity of the search reflected the new hope that Bruckner's connection could finally yield answers. Despite the extensive and meticulous search at the Arade Dam, no definitive trace of Madeleine McCann was found. Investigators did collect several items for forensic analysis, but none were publicly linked to Madeleine or provided the conclusive breakthrough everyone hoped for. While the search did not yield immediate answers, it signified the ongoing commitment of law enforcement agencies across 3 nations to resolve the case. The lack of a body continued to be the most agonizing aspect, preventing true closure for the family and keeping the door open for lingering doubts and questions. As of early 2024, Christian Bruckner remains the prime suspect in Madeleine McCann's disappearance. German prosecutors are continuing to build their case, facing the complex challenge of prosecuting a murder without a body. The legal process is intricate, involving cooperation between multiple jurisdictions and navigating different legal systems. The McCanns remain hopeful that Bruckner will eventually be brought to trial, believing he holds the key to what happened to their daughter. The fight for justice, even after all these years, remains relentless. Madeleine McCann's disappearance had a profound and lasting impact on public awareness regarding child safety, particularly for families traveling abroad. It prompted parents worldwide to re-evaluate their holiday routines and vigilance. Hotels and resorts implemented stricter security measures, and public information campaigns emphasized the importance of never leaving young children unsupervised. The tragic event became a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities children face and spurred a global conversation about preventing similar tragedies. Her legacy, in part, is a heightened collective consciousness around child protection. The case of Madeleine McCann also became a seminal example of the immense power and pitfalls of media coverage in a missing persons case. From the initial saturation of her image to the relentless scrutiny of her parents, the media played a dual role. It helped galvanize global attention and support for the search, yet it also fueled speculation, rumor, and at times, sensationalism that complicated the investigation and caused immense distress to the McCanns. The ethical considerations of reporting on such a sensitive and ongoing tragedy remain a critical discussion point for journalism. For Kate and Jerry McCann, the search for their daughter has consumed their lives for over 17 years. They have faced unimaginable grief, public judgment, and relentless hope. Their determination to find Madeleine, or at least to uncover the truth of her disappearance, has never wavered. They continue to raise funds for the private investigation and maintain their website, keeping Madeleine's face and story alive in the public consciousness. Their love for their missing daughter remains the driving force behind an unwavering quest for answers and justice, despite the immense personal toll. The small, picturesque town of Praia da Luz was irrevocably altered by Madeleine's disappearance. What was once known as a peaceful holiday destination became synonymous with tragedy. Residents and holidaymakers alike have lived with the lingering shadow of that night. The local community has shown resilience, but also a deep sense of sadness and unanswered questions. For many, the case serves as a constant, unsettling reminder that even in the most idyllic settings, the unthinkable can happen. The resort continues to welcome tourists, but the memory of Madeleine remains etched into its landscape. Much of the detailed evidence gathered over 17 years remains hidden from public view, held by law enforcement agencies. This includes thousands of pages of police reports, forensic analyses, witness statements, and confidential intelligence. The complexities of international investigations often necessitate such secrecy to protect ongoing inquiries and potential future prosecutions. While frustrating for a public eager for answers, this controlled release of information is standard procedure. The hope is that this unseen evidence will one day form a complete picture, leading to a definitive resolution. The Madeleine McCann case is a stark illustration of the inherent challenges in missing persons investigations, especially when a child is involved. The immediate loss of critical time, potential contamination of the scene, and conflicting witness accounts all create significant hurdles. Furthermore, the international dimension, involving multiple police forces and legal systems, adds layers of complexity. The sheer volume of false leads and speculative theories has also diverted resources and complicated the search for truth. This case embodies a perfect storm of investigative difficulties. Throughout the years, H-progression images of Madeleine have been released by investigators, offering a glimpse of what she might look like today. These poignant images serve as a powerful reminder of the passage of time and the ongoing void in her family's lives. Created by forensic artists, these composites are based on family photographs and anthropological data, aiming to aid recognition. They are a tool not just for identification, but also for keeping her story current, ensuring that Madeleine's face continues to be recognized by millions who hope for her safe return. The extraordinary public engagement with Madeleine's case is a testament to the power of collective memory and empathy. Millions around the world have followed every twist and turn, shared her image, and hoped for her safe return. This sustained public interest has undoubtedly kept the investigation alive, generating new leads and ensuring political and financial support for the search. While it brings challenges, it also ensures that Madeleine is not forgotten, and that the pressure for answers continues to mount on those who might hold them. The McCann case saw three distinct investigative approaches: the initial Portuguese Polícia Judiciária (PJ), the private investigators hired by the family, and finally, the comprehensive Operation Grange by Scotland Yard. Each brought different strengths and weaknesses. The PJ faced a new type of high-profile international case. The private detectives offered agility but lacked state authority, and Operation Grange provided vast resources but started years after the event. The combined, albeit sometimes conflicting, efforts underscore the complexity of such a global mystery, highlighting the need for seamless international law enforcement collaboration. Witness testimony has been crucial, yet also incredibly challenging, in the Madeleine McCann case. Dozens of people reported sightings or observed suspicious individuals in Praia da Luz around the time of the disappearance. However, memories fade, details become blurred, and initial statements can be inconsistent. Reconciling these accounts over more than a decade requires painstaking work. Operation Grange meticulously re-interviewed many original witnesses, hoping new techniques or fresh perspectives could clarify ambiguities and strengthen leads, particularly those pointing towards Christian Bruckner. Despite the formal identification of Christian Bruckner as a prime suspect, online forums and social media remain rife with speculation and alternative theories. These range from elaborate conspiracy theories to renewed accusations against the McCanns, often fueled by misinformation and the sheer lack of a definitive resolution. While the public's desire for answers is understandable, this persistent speculation can hinder official investigations and cause immense distress to those involved. The case continues to be a magnet for amateur sleuths and online discourse, highlighting humanity's struggle with unresolved mysteries. Beyond the headlines and investigations, the Madeleine McCann case carries an immeasurable human cost. For Kate and Jerry McCann, it is a daily torment of not knowing, compounded by the constant public gaze. Their other children, Sean and Amelie, have grown up in the shadow of their sister's disappearance. For Christian Bruckner's victims and their families, the case reopens old wounds. And for countless others who were touched by the story, it leaves a lingering sense of unease. It's a reminder that every unsolved mystery leaves behind a trail of profound human suffering. Despite the passage of time and the many frustrations, the search for Madeleine McCann embodies an enduring legacy of hope. It is a testament to parental love and the human spirit's refusal to give up. The ongoing investigation, the dedication of law enforcement, and the unwavering public support speak volumes about a shared desire for justice and closure. Madeleine's story has not only changed families' approaches to holiday safety but has also united people in a collective plea that no child should ever vanish without a trace. Her face remains a symbol of all missing children. The Madeleine McCann investigation, now primarily led by German prosecutors, continues its meticulous work. Funding for Operation Grange from the UK government has been extended, signaling a continued commitment from British authorities to support the German lead. The focus remains squarely on Christian Bruckner, with investigators determined to gather enough evidence for a successful prosecution. While legal complexities and the passage of time present significant hurdles, the resolve to find definitive answers for Madeleine's family remains as strong as ever, keeping this enduring mystery firmly in the public eye. Madeleine McCann. Her name has transcended a personal tragedy to become a symbol. A symbol of parents' worst fears, of global empathy, and of the agonizing fight for justice. For 17 years, her name has been uttered in whispers of sadness, cries of protest, and shouts of hope. It represents not just one missing child, but the universal vulnerability of childhood and the relentless pursuit of truth. The world waits, watches, and remembers, bound by the hope that one day, the full story behind the name Madeleine McCann will finally be revealed. The McCann family and authorities continue to appeal to anyone with information, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, to come forward. A single piece of overlooked evidence, a fleeting memory, or a hidden detail could be the key to unlocking this persistent mystery. The passage of time can also change loyalties or circumstances, encouraging those who once remained silent to speak up. The call for information remains a constant thread throughout this long saga, a desperate plea for that one piece that could bring closure to a family injustice for Madeleine. As years turn into decades, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann remains one of the world's most enduring and heartbreaking mysteries. The story is a complex tapestry of a family's unimaginable loss, an international police hunt, and the persistent quest for truth against overwhelming odds. Each lead, each suspect, each new search brings a fleeting moment of hope, followed by the crushing weight of continued uncertainty. Yet, the commitment to finding Madeleine, or uncovering what happened to her, remains an unwavering beacon. The world watches, waits, and hopes for a resolution to this haunting unsolved case. Madeleine Beth McCann, born May 12, 2003, would be entering adulthood now, a thought that weighs heavily on her parents and all who follow her story. Her disappearance ignited a global movement for missing children, a testament to her innocent face. She is remembered not just as a victim, but as a child who brought the world together in a shared plea for safety and justice. Her parents hold on to the belief that she may still be alive, or that the truth, however painful, will ultimately be revealed. Madeleine is not forgotten, her memory fuels the enduring search.